Welcome aboard Skylark Outdoors here, and today we're going to take you on a tour of the Four Winns HD3 OB, which we've got right here. It's outfitted with a 200 horsepower Mercury, and as we step aboard, you can see there's a swim platform and a ladder back here, and then this back seat, which can be used as either a seat or a daybed. That headrest will fold to the rear, and then you've got more of a daybed, and you've got 4 cup holders. You can't go wrong with having too many cup holders, so that's nice. Now, a feature I like on this boat is it's got this little gate, so if you've got little ones, you can close that gate, make it less likely for them to venture to the rear of the boat, and just kind of contain everything inside the boat here. You've got this L-shaped seat, and then you've got the captain's chair, and you've got the passenger chair right here. This boat does have a head, and at 22 feet, that is impressive. Most boats this size don't have a head, so you can see there's this another seat behind the captain's chair, and then you've got the helm right here. I do love that this seat has that extra cushion that folds up or down, so you can really see while you're driving this boat when you've got the bow up, and that's going to give you more situational awareness and visibility. Up here, we've got another forward ladder, as well as that's your anchor locker to store your anchor in. You could probably fit 2 to 4 people up here in the bow of the boat. This boat does have a 12-person capacity, and then you've got this windshield that can fold down. You've got some storage underneath those seats in the front, and then right here, this is our head. It's nice that they fit this into this size boat. That's pretty rare. Now, that is a porta potty, but I believe that there is another option to have an actually permanently installed potty in the head. However, the porta potty option will work for emergency use. Plenty of cup holders. It does have a speaker system. And one thing I like about this boat is that overhead tower can be used as a wakeboard or ski tower, but it also does fold down for storage, which means that you're going to be able to keep it in your garage if you wanted to. And it provides a lot of coverage to get you out of the sun and provide some shade for yourself and your passengers. And then when you're towing that, you can put that right down. So overall, this is a neat boat. We're going to go through some of the specifications that this has. It's 22 feet, has an 8.5-foot wide beam, an 18-inch draft when you've got the engines up. It's got a 44-gallon capacity and weighs in at approximately 4,100 pounds, not including the trailer. So you're right around 6,000 pounds with a trailer when you're towing this. And at 22 feet, no big deal to tow this behind a truck and or even a larger SUV. We've got the rear shot here that shows you that swim platform and deck. It is a fairly good size back here. But a couple other things to note about this into the addition of the 12-person capacity. They do include a lifetime hull structure warranty on this. Now, what's nice about this is that you can choose between Yamaha or Mercury engines. You can either go with 200 horsepower or you can go with 250 horsepower for either one. So if you've got a preference for Yamaha, you can go with that, or if you've got a preference for Mercury, you can go with those as well. And you can put digital controls on this if you want that instead of mechanical controls. Now, something I think to think about with this boat is what are you going to use it for? If you want to pull tubing, skiers, you definitely could do that with this boat, but they also make this boat in a configuration with an inboard engine that can be used as more of a wake boat. Now, in my opinion, I think outboards are going to give you less headaches over the long term, and they're going to be easier to maintain. However, if you want to use this in a specific activity like wakeboarding, you're probably better going off with the wakeboard inboard version of this boat. However, the advantages of an outboard are that you don't have to winterize this, or the process for winterizing it is much easier than winterizing an inboard, which means lower maintenance costs. And if you live in an area of the country where you get freezing cold temperatures at the beginning or the end of your season, it means you're going to be able to extend the season because you won't have to fully winterize this boat at the beginning or the end of the season when you've got risk of freezing or frost. So let's say in a place like Michigan or Wisconsin or even Ohio, you could use this later into the season or on those days when it warms up, when you just want to put your boat in, trailer it down to the marina and take it for a ride, versus with an inboard, you're going to have to winterize it, dewinterize it if you've got that risk of freezing because you don't want your engine to blow a freeze plug or have an issue with something freezing inside the boat. So I think that's one of the major advantages of outboards. As well as maintaining an outboard, everything is on the exterior. So for gear oil changes, for oil changes on the engine itself, everything is easily accessible at the rear of the boat. If you've ever done an oil change inside of an inboard boat with very constricted space, you know that that can be an issue, and it's just more headache than having this on the trailer, being at the rear of the boat and being able to change all those fluids out, as well as inspect whatever you need to on the engine and get to whatever you need to very easily. And you'll find that most places that you get a boat serviced, they will have lower rates, or it will be less time spent working on an outboard than in an inboard. And if you've looked at really cramped inboard compartments, you can understand why. You have to have someone that is bendable and small and flexible to get into some of the places where you need to work on an inboard engine, and or you're going to have to pay to have that entire engine removed to replace something like a starter in some cases because of the limited space. Whereas with this, you're going to be able to do that with the engine on the boat, or even if you have to remove the engine, or you need to repower it for some reason, you can do that just by hooking up a hoist, moving this engine, and you're not going to have any issues. Another advantage is if you want to take this in salt water, you're going to be able to flush an inboard engine you're going to be able to flush an outboard engine much easier than you're going to be able to flush an inboard engine. So let's say you've got this in Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, you want to take it down to Florida for the winter or a couple of weeks, go on vacation. You could take this with you, go in a saltwater or brackish water area, and then you're just going to flush the engine out. Really easy to do with these engines versus an inboard where everything starts to get corroded inside, the bilge gets some salt water in it, and you're going to eliminate those issues with having a boat like this. Much easier to take care of in both freshwater and or saltwater. I am always a big fan of outboard engines, with the exception of if you are doing something specific like wakeboarding on this boat. Now, could you wakeboard on this boat? You absolutely could wakeboard on this boat. It does have a wake tower. What would be harder is wake surfing. And wake surfing is where you actually surf the rear of the boat without even having to hold on to a rope or a tower. You're going at a much lower speed than wakeboarding, but it's a whole different thing entirely, and what you want is a boat with more ballast in the rear to create that wake that you can surf on. But you could absolutely wakeboard on this, no problem. You could absolutely ski on this, no problem. You could absolutely tube on this and enjoy all of those things that you wanted on this while being in a compact package that is very easy to tow. So if you don't have a slip at a marina, you can pull your car up or your SUV truck and drop this thing in, no problem. And what you find is having a boat like this at this size range is going to be less stressful towing because it's less weight, and maneuvering a lot of times is going to be easier at the boat ramp. But you've got kind of all the amenities you need with a head for emergency situations. You are able to use this as a ski boat, and you're able to just take the family out or take yourself out for a cruise. So thanks for watching this review of the Four Winns HD3 OB. We did do a review on the HD4, which is one size larger than this, so go take a look at that. We're going to have a link to that down in the description, and we hope to see you next time.